waiting for the break of day, searching for something to say, flashing lights.
Hey, I'm over here with one of the people who have rather recently started attending the Gilford Community Church, Nancy Baylies. How you doing, Nancy?
I'm doing really good.
How are you managing this whole COVID-19?
Well, it's been up and down. You know, I have good days and bad days, and I've had a couple meltdowns, but I think my faith is really helping me get through the hard time, and friends, and I'm just waiting like everybody else, and I'm praying they get a vaccine.
And Nancy, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cheshire, Connecticut.
Okay.
I
Yeah, my kids live in my daughter lives in Southington, which is right next to Cheshire.
Really?
Yeah.
I used to work in Southington. I used to, when I first graduated from high school, I was a nanny for 3 years for 4 little girls. There was an infant, and the infant's name was Nancy, so they called me Nanny. So I really got attached to him, and I always loved working with children. So I used to volunteer up north for the after-school children.
So from Cheshire, how did you get to New Hampshire?
Oh, okay. Well, I moved up to northern New Hampshire in 1972, so I've been up there over 50 years.
Yeah.
The reason I moved north was I wanted to get away from, well, my family. We weren't the closest family, and a friend asked me to go up there, and I never came back.
Huh.
I worked at a hospital, Weeks Medical Hospital in Lancaster. I worked there for over 10 years. I was like the nutritionist. I mean, I didn't go to school and like become a registered dietitian, but back in the late 60s and early 70s, they didn't have dietitians in the hospital. They used to bring, like once a month, someone would come in, and I actually started at the bottom when I first started there. I used to work in the dietary department and do the trays, and even I did some cooking there. And the girl that was working in the office quit, so they asked me if I wanted to be like the diet therapist. And I was like, okay. And I liked it because it got me all over the hospital. I got to meet the doctors and nurses, and got to meet a lot of people, and I felt like I was doing something for the community.
Yep.
And at the same time, I have a job.
Yeah, it's great. Win-win.
Yeah. So the head of the hospital was telling me how they would send me to school, and I went to school for a couple years, and so then I was considered a nutritionist, but and then I would work with a dietitian when she came in. So it was interesting. I learned a lot about food, and so now I'm.
So what are some of your favorite foods?
Well, I love Italian food.
Me too.
I love seafood. My specialty is Italian food. I was married I was married over 40 years, and I was divorced actually a year ago, April, so it hasn't been that long, about a year and a half. So we have 2 children and 2 boys, and did a lot of cooking, being the only female in the family.
Yeah. So where are your sons now?
My younger son's in Montana, in Bozeman, Montana, and he was supposed to come home this summer because we hadn't seen him for over 2 years. He has an aquarium business out there, and he was struggling for quite a while, and his business is finally paying off.
That's great.
I'm really proud of him that he's worked so hard. He went to MSU, Montana State University, and it took him quite a few years, but he finally got his bachelor's in business administration. So and my other son lives in Stoddard, New Hampshire right now, and I'm a little sad. He's moving to North Carolina
Oh,
in October. So I won't see him for a while, but I haven't seen him for a while anyway. Actually, I haven't seen him since January, before COVID.
yeah.
He got married 2.5 years ago, and he's living there with his wife, and so we haven't really gotten together that much. It's kind of complicated because I really wanted to get to know my daughter-in-law.
Sure.
She's a sweet person. But now they're moving. They bought a condo near Myrtle Beach. It's not in Myrtle Beach, but it's cheaper to buy a house in North Carolina than South Carolina. So they're kind of on the border there. And so they're going to live in their condo, and they're building a house in this really cool name in North Carolina. I forget, Allagash or something like that. So
Well, that would be a nice place to visit.
well, yeah, that's what Tim keeps telling me. Timothy and Ryan. Ryan's the younger one. So yeah.
Have you been to Montana?
Yeah, I've been to Montana 3 times, and it's quite a trip.
Yeah.
And I liked it the first time we went to Yellowstone National Park, and that was quite a day.
I'll bet.
We rented a van, and I was hoping to see more. Like, I saw some elk, but I was hoping to see more wild animals. But it was still beautiful. So now I'm living here in Laconia, and it was quite a culture shock moving from northern New Hampshire. I mean, I lived above the notch. I lived in Whitefield and for over 50 years. So learning Laconia, and I was really shocked by Laconia. The way the city, it's a small city, but the way the one-way street really got me one day. I thank God this nice lady caught me. I'm ready to turn the corner, and she yells out, "It's a one-way street!" So I said, "Oh my gosh!" So luckily, the guy in back of her, I don't know if it's I almost did like a U-turn type thing, but I've had a lot of funny experiences and scary experiences down here.
Huh.
But living on Weir's Beach is, I think if I was 20 years younger, it would be more fun. And if I had a boat, maybe, because my landlord lives 2 doors down. He doesn't have a boat, but everyone has a dock, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this at the time, but one day I took a long walk, and I was hot on the way back, so I said, I'm going to just go down to the dock. These people have a dock right across the street, and I saw the lady disappear one day going down, so I figured out where the opening was. So I kind of followed her. So I went down there, and it was kind of cool because she was there with her boyfriend. There's Christine and Mike live next door. And we just kept our distance. And it's cooler, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. They got a fire pit, and wow, maybe. And then they had a big boat, and I'm thinking, maybe they'll invite me on the boat. So, but then I didn't know this, but I went down again on my own one day when I was walking, and the owner came down and said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm just trying to cool off down here." And he wasn't too happy. He says, "You can't be down here because if you fall, then I'm responsible." I'm like, I said, "That doesn't seem very fair," because it's so frustrating having the water here.
Yeah.
And seeing all the jet skis and all the boats, and I'm like, I see him go by, and I'm like, give me a ride, But I got over that. I can understand that because it is kind of a rough walk down, and he's probably looking at my age, and I'm not 25, so actually I felt like saying you really need to improve this because it's all rocks, and the dock is the wood is rotting out, but anyway, so in the end of March, I was lucky enough to get flowers is my passion, so I was lucky enough to get a job over on over by Apeche Lake there. It was a couple, at a beautiful house on the lake, and I met him at a restaurant, at Myrna's restaurant, and they overheard me talking about I wanted to So it worked out well for COVID because I started at the end of March and I worked April, May, and part of June. I was the weeder. I mean, I cleaned out all the perennial gardens.
Huh.
I just loved it, you know. And I loved the part where I'm down by the water doing it.
Sure.
These people are flying by in the boats, and I'm thinking, oh, can I get, you know, on a hot day, I'm thinking, here I am sweating, and these people are in the boats. So I'm like, oh, well. So, like mid-June, it was getting really hot, and I have arthritis in my hands. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be, but now I put that CBD oil on, and it's helping. But it worked out as much as I loved working, and his son offered to do all the yard work if his father paid him. So he did. He ended up doing mowing the lawn and weeding. So
it was good while it lasted.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And now, how did you happen to stumble upon the Gilford Community Church?
That's funny because I went down that road one day and I had to. Oh, I know. I used to have a condo in Gilford, which I sold last December. That's another story. I sold that because it wasn't working out. And you could only live there 6 months out of the year, and it was fine when I was married because I just come down for spring and summer and go back. But that's how it worked out. So I sold the condo, and so I went. Oh, I went to the old homecoming or
Old Home Day? Yep.
Old Home Day, and I saw the church, and I said, "Oh, this is really cool with a beautiful library and the flowers." I love the flowers. I'm thinking, oh, this. So I really love this service. It's the first church I tried. I said, I really like this. I think what I liked, it said Gilford Community Church, and then I talked to people around town that said that you do a lot for the community, and I know that you do a lot for New Beginnings in Laconia. And actually, I met my best friend. It's Chris Matthews there.
And she had to move away, huh?
Yeah, and poor Chris. I talked to her today. She's in Revere, Mass, and you can't go anywhere without.
She used to live on Barney Point, a beautiful little. Yeah.
Well, the thing, it's really, I think God worked this out because my first day at the church, we're walking out, and she was walking alone, and I introduced myself. And we just immediately became friends because I said, well, I just recently divorced. I think it had only been like 6 or 7 months ago or something like that. And she goes, well, I was married 60 years, and I'm like, my heart just went out to her, and we just ended up being friends, and
Next time you talk to her, tell her I said hi.
Yes, she said to say hi to you too. So, and I think one thing I really liked about the church is how you work with the youth. You have that little service with the little children in the morning, and I always had a soft heart for young children. So it was hard because I was planning on working with children. I wanted to get a part-time job to supplement my Social Security, and then when COVID started, because I wanted to either work after school program like I did, volunteered up north, because I found out they pay people like from 3 to 5, and I'm thinking, well, that would be perfect, 5 days a week, 3 to 5, a few hours a week. But that stopped, and it's like everybody else, my life just stopped.
Yeah.
So, but I think I developed a thicker skin down here because being from up north, I met people that, I'm a very trusting person, and I met some people that really were trying to make friends with me so they could get money or something. I mean, I had a couple bad experiences, but I think I know better now.
Good, I hope so.
Yeah, but I made some nice friends down here, but I remember when COVID first started, I used to, well, if it's a warm night, I'd eat my supper outside and like have a party with myself, If it was going to get a cold beer or glass of wine or something, but I, like everybody else, I didn't think it was going to last this long.
Yeah, it's been amazing, huh?
It's been like a science fiction movie, but it's real. And I've been reading in the Laconia Sun. A lot of people are upset about Bike Week, and that really concerns me. Because
Yeah, I think a lot of people are concerned about that.
In South Dakota, that bike rally they had,
Yeah, it was enormous,
250,000 people. So I think Governor Sununu has done a really good job, but I'm like everybody else. I don't but it bothers me because I'm thinking, why are the bikers? Why do they get to do it? Because they canceled Meadowbrook, they canceled the country fairs, and so that has me baffled. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me either.
Yeah, and that's the 22nd. So
Yeah, it's been I think about 21 weeks since we had church inside the sanctuary, and I know that you're hoping to come on Sunday to the outdoor service.
yes, pray. I don't know. I was looking at the weather. The weather didn't look so great, but the weatherman isn't always right.
I'm hoping for an overcast morning where it's a little on the cool side,
Right.
not 90 and humid.
Yeah, I think it said 40-50% chance, but that can change.
Yep. Well, if it rains, we just postpone it. So.
That's right, and do it.
Yep.
You gotta be so flexible now, don't you?
So what are you doing to take care of yourself?
Well, I think for therapy, I planted. My landlord let me put flowers outside, so I take care of them, and I deadhead those, and I try to walk, and I want to get back to yoga class. It starts up again on the.
Where do you do yoga?
Well, I used to do it in Center Harbor, but she hasn't gone back yet. But then I found out there's one on Elm Street, Studio 151, and it's very reasonable, like $7 a class.
Huh. I think that's the Peter and May Stewart's building that they own. Peter and May.
It's right on the corner there.
Yeah.
I think it's a red building.
Yes. Peter and May are church members. Peter was the architect who designed the church, and May is very involved in our music program, and
They
that gym
own
has
that
been there.
building?
Yes, and that gym that's where their offices are, and that gym has been there for some time now too.
Oh, a small world, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, yoga. For relaxation, I try to discipline myself, and I try to do it, but it's so much better in the class, and they have a big area, so you can social distance and which is good. So I'm really looking forward to that. And other than that, the lake. I started going to Bong Beach in Laconia.
Oh yeah.
I miss Gilford Beach because I went there for
Gilford's a great
over
beach.
7 years, and you have to have a sticker. And Bond Beach is nice.
Yes.
It's nothing compared to Gilford Beach because it's so long. But they do keep it clean, so I'm thankful for that. So I've gotten, and I met some nice people in Laconia there. I bought 2 big inner tubes. One's out on the porch because I'm supposed to go tubing this weekend. I was just so excited the other day because I go to the lake by myself all the time, and I met 2 young women that I talked to, and I said I wanted to try river tubing, and they said, "Oh, you should join us." So I'm like, I was never so happy in my life.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and so it's Allie and Alyssa, and they said, "Oh boy, we have a new friend." So I'm just so thankful.
So where are you going to do that?
She said it's off Route 26. I haven't been there. It's a lot of people I think go to Plymouth and do the Penny River, but they do this one, and I'm thinking, boy, that's not very far away. So you bring your tube, and you have a car at the end so that they drive you back. So because I love the water, that's one reason why I wanted to live in the Lakes region. But I didn't want to. Whereas Boulevard's a little much. I couldn't believe 4th of July.
Oh, I bet.
At 12 o'clock, It was like the war zone. Fireworks coming from everywhere, and there's a big condo complex in back here. People were shooting guns, real guns. I have to speak to the town about that.
Yeah.
But you know, you've got the people that on the motorcycles that really are, you know, abide by the rules, but then you've got the ones that are unbelievable. They rev up their bike. It's just, it's very disturbing sometimes.
People are interesting.
Yes, yes.
Well, I want to thank you for letting me come over.
Oh, you're welcome.
I so enjoyed learning a little bit more about you, Nancy. I hope that you have a great time tubing, and if the weather is good on Sunday, I hope to see you there over in behind the church and the youth center.
And I really hope I can work. I'm looking forward to joining the church. I haven't joined the church yet. I'd love to work with children some way, in some capacity. So
Awesome.
I'm glad you could come and visit today.
Me too. Thank you for your hospitality. Have a great afternoon.
Oh, thank you.